Good day, everyone. My name is Mike Woods with American Patriot Sales. I'm going to conduct a boil out of a fry-o-lator today. The materials needed to do that is you're going to need a couple of 5-gallon buckets. You're going to drain out the old oil. You're going to use the clean 5-gallon bucket to mix your mixture for the boil out packet. And then what you're going to do is after you rinse out the boil out material, after we scrub the fry-o-lator, you're going to take the clean bucket and you're going to add 8 to 12 ounces of white vinegar only, into water. We'll put it in the fry-o-lator and then we'll neutralize everything. In a boil out type such as this, the baskets and the rack that holds the basket is going to be cleaned. And as you can see in the fry-o-lator here, this fry-o-lator has a lot of brown material on the outside. That brown material is called polymers. That is what is exacerbated of the oil during the frying process. So we'll get started. As you can see, we've started our drain right here to drain the oil out. I'll unleash the valve and we'll start draining the oil out. Again, I want to point out that once you get all the oil out, you want to close up that valve, because if you don't, you put the boil out packet in, it's going to run all over the floor and make it become a mess. So let's get started. Now, this bucket is not going to hold all of the product that's in this. We'll do the best we can and then start on with something else. As you'll notice underneath it, I have placed for this type of situation a cloth just to catch the dripping, which is going to come out of this spigot. Sometimes I turn it up like this just so that it keeps the excess oil inside there and doesn't drip on the floor. As you can see, when you look down in the kettle right now, the oil is almost all gone, but you'll see that the kettle itself is has a lot of particulates in it, and we'll get that cleaned out during the boil out process. We'll start in and turn this again and get it fully. It's good to get all the oil out. And again, there are going to be particulates that's still left inside, but we'll get those out during the boil out process. Now we'll shut this off. Again, make sure it's closed, because once you put your boil out packet in, you don't want it to run out all over the floor. We'll turn this up so there's no droppings. We'll remove this and place it over here. We'll get our clean water and we'll add the packets to it. One packet is 10 to 20 pound fry-o-lator. This fry-o-lator is probably around a 65 pound fry-o-lator. So we need to put 2 of these packets in there. It's a liquid. They come in, other boil out packets come in powder. This is a liquid, so we should have no problem with this being diluted. I put a whisk in here just so we can stir it around. Now, this is only part of the water it will use, because we're going to need to fill it up to the max fill line when we do a boil out of this kind. So, and you don't have to put it in a metal kettle, a metal bucket. You can put it in a white 5-gallon bucket. And you see it starting to suds. Once you put this in here, the manufacturer recommends that you let it set for 10 to 30 minutes and turn the temperature to 225 degrees. We will do that at the present time once we get it filled up. We dump the boil out packet in, again, making sure the valve underneath is closed. When you do a boil out of this kind, while this is filling up, you want to put your baskets in there and your hanger in the back, okay? Because what you want to do is when you boil the oil out, you want to clean out all these polymers on the side, and you want to clean this out as well. Also, you'll see in the bottom there was a screen, a rack. That needs to stay in there because that's going to come out. But during the boil out process, we want to clean that up. Once we do the baskets and we get the boil out packet in there and get it to 225 degrees, we will scrub the baskets first, take them and bring them in the back, wash them off with water. Your basket should never go through a dishwasher, and I will tell you why. Your baskets, if you put them through the dishwasher, the soap that's in the dishwasher will stay on the baskets even if they dry. There are 3 things that hurt oil. exposed white metal from broken fry baskets, or the screen that's in there, that metal screen is broken, has broken metal, or soap inside your fry later. Also, at the same time, you know what, when we recap this off and get it running with the new oil, we will cover it at night. You should cover your kettle at night. Moisture in the air, and when the oil cools down, it automatically sucks in what's in the air. So sometimes you'll come in the morning, you'll turn your fry later on, and you'll get that crackling effect, and that's because the kettle was not covered at night. And you cover it as soon as you turn it off. And what you can do now, even though we haven't capped it off all the way, is you can still turn on the fry later to get it to start to heat up, to hasten the process. And again, it says 220. One of the things that you want to make sure you don't do is you don't bring this to a boil, because if you bring it to a boil, the chemicals that are inside the boil out packet will bubble up and will bubble over the sides. So you must take extra special care in making sure that you watch the fry later when you're doing a boil out of this kind. We're now going to add the rest of the water to bring it up right above the max fill line. Again, the main reason we're doing that is we want to make sure that the baskets have a way in which for them to have enough of the boil out packet to get them cleaned. Materials you're going to need when you're doing this will be a steel wool, any kind of steel wool will work, and a brush. I can tell you that the boil out packet has a little degreaser in it, and as it's heating up, I can tell that the degreaser is working because the grease is coming off of the fry basket in particular. So again, good thing to know that this needs to be activated by the heat to be working properly. This is this liquid boil out. As I do this, I'm always pushing the boil out packet on the different parts of the fry later, because we want to make sure that we keep that moist, because it's going to start breaking down the brown polymers on the fry later. And again, we'll get through the fry basket cleaning here. As you can see, as I'm scrubbing, see how clean that fry basket's coming? That's very, very important in the process. And you can see it on this side as I scrub it. That boil out packet does a fantastic job, and I'm not really scrubbing it that hard, as you can see as well. And that's important, because you will want to tire yourself out doing all of this. Now, when you start scrubbing the kettle, you don't want to scrub into the water. You want to, the boil out water, you want to do the perimeter like I'm doing right now and get the sides. But as you drain out, you want to drain out the water, the boil out water, because you want to be able to get down into the to the sides without having to go through the water. Right now, the absorption of that boil out packet in this fry later is, they've doused the sides down pretty good, so you shouldn't have any type of a problem getting that. I know some people use Dawn dishwashing liquid to clean your fry later. Not a good choice. Everybody has a different technique, but it's really not a good choice. The reason is it will take you a long time to get that soap out once you put it in. As you can see, the polymers are coming off slowly but surely. And the kettle is slowly but surely taking some good shape. It's nice to have a little scraper, which I believe we have, which is right here, because when you get into the sides like here, you've got to dig in a little bit. See how that comes right off? That comes right off. We'll go to the other side right here. As you can see, that comes right off. And then doing a boil out, And what I will do is I'll go down on the side right here. Making sure that that is coming off. Also, when we start draining this down, you'll see that that grill that's in there at the bottom, we need to make sure that that's positioned correctly, because if that grid is resting on the tubes, it's fantastic. If that grid is resting on the thermostat, it's not good. Main reason why is that thermostat will continue to call for 350-degree temperature and will not have a chance to take the fry-o-lator and shut it down for a second when it's not in use. So we want to make sure that that's not close to the thermostat. We're going to start draining the boil out water down, as I said before. Just drain out a little to get us below the line so we can start going ahead and scratching and scrubbing the sides. As you'll see, boil out water very hot. You want to try to make sure now, when you take this tube off, you do not want to be touching it with bare hands. You want to have a cloth in your hand because it's going to be very, very hot. If you look inside now, the kettle is drained down, so it gives me an opportunity to scrub the sides. As you can see, the sides right here, you'll see that has polymers and I can feel them. And you can see it on this side, and you'll see right at that oil line, there's polymers. So we want to clean that up as much as we can and scrub it down, and we will. Some of it comes off on an older fry-o-lator. There is some carbon buildup that occurs, and you cannot really get that carbon off no matter how hard you try. And that's just from the overall years of use. Don't forget about the front part here. Sometimes people forget about it, but you still got to scrub that to make sure that it's clean, because that has polymers too in it. All right, so now we're going to drain out a little bit more water out of it. Okay, as you see, the metal screen that's there, that is to keep your fry-o-lators baskets from touching the tubes. And as you can see, this is upside down. So you see this bar is resting on the thermostat. That needs to be turned around this way. As you see, it's not touching the thermostat now. It's not even touching the tubes. That's the way this bar should be put there. So we'll do a little bit of scrubbing on this quickly. As you can see, relatively clean because it's been in all of the boil out material for a long period of time. So you're not really going to have to scrub this much. We'll rinse it off with water, and then we do our neutralization. We'll put it back in. Again, once we put the vinegar and water inside, we will then turn the temperature up to about 200. We will put the fry baskets back in. We'll put the grill at the in the bottom. We'll put the fry baskets back in. We'll put the basket rack attached. All right, now we're going to start putting our vinegar, 8 to 12 ounces of white vinegar, just with water. It can be cold, it can be hot. It doesn't really matter. That is going to be what's going to neutralize your kettle. Now I'm going to fill this up with water right now. We want to make sure that our pipe is closed before we put the vinegar and water in again, just because I've had it happen. Now what I sometimes do, and in this case I probably will do it, is I will fill it up above the max line when I do the neutralization. As you can see, we couldn't see the max line before we did the boil out. We couldn't see the oil level line. Now that's important because when people start putting oil in, If they overfill, you're wasting your oil, okay? If they can see the max and they can see the oil level, then you're performing, your fry-lator is performing well, but you're not wasting oil. So another piece of that is having that being able to be seen is important, and that's part of the boil out process. As I said, a little bit over the max line, just because we are going to take and put our baskets back in there now. And what I do have is I changed my brush to a brush that does not have the boil out soap on it, so that I can neutralize the whole kettle. Also, once you pull the baskets out after neutralizing them,
Take this and just leave
and
it
the
up there.
basket rack, you would wipe them down with paper towels. Same thing when we drain the kettle, we will wipe it down with paper towels. You do not want to wipe it down with a cloth, because pieces of the cloth will get stuck to the sides or on the tubes, and you're going to have pieces of cloth inside your fry-lator. Put the rack back in, again, making sure that when you put it back in, it is, this side is down, the metal side is up, because that's what your fry baskets are going to rest on. And also, this metal is not touching the thermostat. So we'll put the new oil in. Hopefully it doesn't come out of the base. I always do that just to make sure. Remember, oil expands. So we'll put this where I think it should be, which will be a little bit above the level line, close to the max. And then when we turn it on, that oil will expand and rise up to that max line. 350 degrees only. No more, no less. If you can purchase a thermometer, you should calibrate your fry-lator at the beginning, in the middle, and the end of the season to make sure it's running at 350. If it's not running at 350, take your dial below, down here, set it below 350 until your thermometer reads 350. Then you would take and just make sure your dial's at that spot. Take a little bit of whiteout and put it on that spot, and make sure that your wait staff or your kitchen staff understands that's where you start up the fry-lator at on an ongoing basis. Understand one thing: a fry-lator does not need to be turned on if your opening is 11 at 7 o'clock in the morning. You can turn it on at 10:30. Fry-lators will heat up, and again, in this case in point, this one will heat up in a short period of time because the tubes are cleaned and it's not going to be a problem. Thank you very much. Have yourself a great rest of the day, and I hope this was helpful to you.